Namaste Krishna Rao garu, welcome to IYR Talks English edition. Today we will just discuss on the most controversial and highly debated issue in Telangana, that is 400 acres of land in and around Hyderabad Central University HCU, whether it belongs to HCU or it belongs to government, because there are paper reports stating that the government has taken this particular land and they have allotted an alternative land of some 260 acres somewhere else and all that. But here the objective and the crux of the agitation is that to preserve the natural heritage to and that ecosystem in Hyderabad in that area, because city is expanding and everywhere and all that, and if you do not keep sufficient lung space, tomorrow the coming generations and they have to face a lot of challenges, like right now what is happening in New Delhi and Bangalore, high pollution levels. Even right now in Hyderabad also we see the pollution levels more in industrial areas. Now industry is also, they are trying to phase out out of the city, like Katadan, they are completely removing the industrial estate from there and moving outside. Like this, some chemical industries, if you take for that purpose, like Patancheru, Balanagar, all these industries, they produce a lot of chemical waste and both in terms of air pollution, also water pollution. So a newly developed place in and around Gachibowli, HCU is a very main important thing, and this is whether it belongs to the government or belongs to HCU and all that. Now there is a overall agitation from natural lovers and also from citizens, apart from the students' wild agitation, and political leaders like both BRS and BJP are also protesting against this particular thing. What do you think? Because one thing is for sure, Chief Minister also is little concerned, appears to be, because he has asked for the complete details of this land, because no doubt selling this 400 acres of land brings a whopping multi-crore amount to the bottom line of the government, only to spend for freebies. So whether that act should be done or they should follow little restraint, and if they want they can go on. The city, luckily for the Telangana, Hyderabad state capital, you can expand all the ways, because it is not bounded by any rivers or mountains or anything. You can expand on all the sides. So we have got good number of districts and all that. So in light of this, what do you think, like government dropping out this 400 acres of land for the purpose of development of industries and for plotting and for making money? Can you elucidate on this?
First of all, the issue need not be looked from the angle of whether it is land belonging to University of Hyderabad or whether it is belonging to the government. That is one aspect. Let us take it is not University of Hyderabad land. The land is demarcated, and this 400 acres of land belongs to government, which I think is the correct position also, could be the right position. Even then, how should the government deal with this land? Does not the government have an objective of preserving lung spaces when a city is developing, especially when it is already covered with a lot of vegetation and has already existing biodiversity in terms of number of species that are living there, which I am sure a lot of deer and peacocks seems to be habitat, that looks to be a habitat for them. And how do you deal with it? I think the government has a responsibility for preserving these lung spaces as much as a responsibility for industrial development. Industrial development can happen in different areas in different modes. It need not necessarily be pushed into an area where already there is a lot of vegetation and biodiversity existing there. there are different phases of industrial development or IT development or whatever is happening. In 90s, when really IT picked up in Hyderabad during Chandrababu Naidu's time, government was very liberal in allotting land because that's the way you push the new industry which is developing. And there's a justification for it. But today it's not so. I mean, it's already a IT hub. So one need not be very liberal in allocating land to these institutions. In fact, a review of the land already allotted to these IT companies should be made. A lot of them may not be using the land already allotted. They may be using only a fraction of it, 10%, 5%, 15%. If you do an audit of that, you will get a lot of land which you can reallocate to new industries and new firms, and which can expand within the same area, and new ventures can come up instead of going for a new land. And even if you want to expand it in new land, already Neopolis and all those places they have already allocated, and things are coming up. Maybe that can be used and that can be kicked off to further that side to Shankarapalli and other areas. In fact, when Chandrababu Naidu lost the election and Rajshekhar Reddy took over, he thought everything is being concentrated in Madhapur and Gachibowli area, and he wanted to develop a new area, Khatkeshwar area. That's when he allocated about 400 acres or so to Infosys during that period at Khatkeshwar area, which resulted in spin-off of a lot of activity coming up that area. That 400 acres land allocation to Infosys can be reviewed whether they really need that land now, and part of it can be taken back and allocated to new areas that can also be thought of. So, lot of ways in which you can try to expand it in different parts of the city instead of totally destroying an ecosystem and saying that I want to do a real estate in that area. That does not look to be the right way of going about it. For example, we also knew what happened with KBR Park. There was a strong move to develop real estate there when that land came over to government side, and Pranab Mukherjee was pushing it from Delhi, and Nedumalli Janardhan Reddy was trying to push it here. But due to a lot of agitation by concerned people, public interest litigations, maybe even change of government was responsible for it, that was preserved. And you see what is its effect? It's the biggest lung space in a highly populated area. Kancha Gachibowli can also be developed in a similar way for whole of Hyderabad area. That should be the approach. And this was a city of land, lakes, and lot of land, and most of those lakes are also destroyed, and now at least through this idea of Hydra, which the present Chief Minister has taken up, at least some preservation effort for lakes is going on. And why destroy this on the other hand? I think both should go in hand. I am not the one who would say only conserve to the detriment of development. Both have to, maybe even in that 400 acres you can assess, take about 50 acres, develop, and remaining 350 acres you leave it as a lung space for Hyderabad area. Some such trade-off should be thought of instead of totally destroying an ecosystem and say we want to do a real estate. That's not the right way of going about it, and I hope the government takes a second look at it. Unfortunate, already the bulldozers have gone in action and destroyed maybe part of it or total of that ecosystem. But if you leave an ecosystem like that, it will get rebuilt over 5 to 10 years period. That's not a big problem. So I think it's time the government looks at it in a different manner and takes an overall approach of both conserving, preserving, and developing. That should be the motto of the government.
Yeah, the government's approach is to protect the ecosystem. I think Hyderabad will be the #1 city in the Indian states. Let us look forward to such initiative by the government.